by others. What a timely message even today, driving the attention of Muslims back to the core values and virtues of Islam: exalted reason, freedom of thought, high manners, family virtues, moral uprightness, honesty, true equality of community. And he wanted to restore the inward reason of Islam and reaffirm the social values and cultural ideas of Islam with progressing science and technology. And then he also supported the uninhibited exchange of views between rulers and their subjects. See how relevant that is in today's time, when we speak about how the current administration here connects with the people. When we see what is happening, I've been noticing the last 2 months as I've been on these business trips in India, eerie parallels between what is happening there with the Hindutva nationalist movement and the focusing on minorities and Muslims, and what's happening here. So he indicated that it is wrong and incorrect to interfere with people's faiths, unjust to hinder the study of religious tenets, and he promoted the understanding of other faiths. I was going to jump beyond this, but I think it's important for me to mention this. So he was a visionary in taking a stance against the denigration of local cultures, against the rise of racism, against the self-conscious isolation of communities. Applies today, my dear friends. What's happening in India? What's happening in Europe? What's happening across the US? Precisely on point. And when he spoke in his Asbab-e Baghawat-e-Hind, here he made a reasoned case that the rebellion was coming because of the government's approach toward Indian Muslims and minorities. To the extent that Maulvi Nazir Ahmad said his critique of the government's approach could be termed as Jihad-e-Akbar at that time. It's fascinating in these days when there is criticism of government being equated to lack of patriotism for us Muslim Americans, for instance. He said when he wrote his critique, the criticism of authority that I undertake, he said, it does not imply advocacy of disorder, sharia, sharpasandi, or rebellion, or sarkashi. Way ahead of his time, something that we can all learn from. And it was back in 1858, I was just referring about this to my wife on the drive over here. Back in 1858 that Sir Syed spoke against, quote unquote, the wholesale denunciation against Mohammedans as a race. We're facing that today. And he's thought about that and he gave a prescription for countering it then. And it is interesting that Sir Syed acknowledged for the British Viceroy at your university, at Aligarh University in 1884, where he said, among the blessings conferred by the British rule, none was greater than the system of education based upon Western methods. That is the legacy of AMU that our respected attendees tonight, you alumni, carry. It was the platform for a rationalist mindset, an independent thinking that stirred a new patriotic awakening amongst Indians. And it became a new sense of pride in the self, in our faith, and in our culture. And what was unique about Sir Syed's legacy and thought is that Muslims in the Aligarh Muslim University system, you, my dear friends, were comprehensively educated in religion and sciences with all the senses of reason, refinement, and revolution, without being positioned as antagonists to society or the establishment. Sir Syed's legacy then for us today, that he wanted us to be equipped with all of that for implementing and engaging on behalf of Islam with dialogue in the broadest sense, being bridges across faiths, cultures, and civilizations. And I'm truly getting to end now, Dr. Siddiqui. Just a few more minutes. Relevant to what's happening in India with the nationalists, the Hindutva movement, Sir Syed's metaphor, think about that, of Hindus and Muslims as two eyes on Mother India's face. It is striking. It inspired, of course, Maulana Azad to strive for Hindu-Muslim unity, but despite his apprehensions at that time about the anti-cow slaughter agitation that was going on then, and it's going on right now in India today, and the Hindu-Urdu controversy, Sir Syed spoke of preserving the unique nature of India's diverse and composite legacy. This he highlighted in his Athar al-Sanadid. You're all familiar with that, where he expounded on North India's vibrant culture and he invoked the pride of every Dilliwala, as he said. So dialogue amongst religions was something that he profoundly recommended, and I'll end with a minute or two on that. He desired the crescent and the cross to cooperate and shed their light all over India. He worked to strengthen knowledge and respect between Muslims and Christians, and he premised it on the position that Islam was not antagonistic to Christianity and that the followers of Jesus were not at war with the Muslims. He acknowledged the prophethood of Isa and that his apostles were inspired men. And then Sir Syed wanted Muslims and Christians to set aside the conflicts triggered by doctrinal assertions about the nature of God, about the mission of the prophets. Instead, he said, work together harmoniously rather than suffer a conflict-ridden past to the detriment of a harmonious future. And it was in that context that his commentary on the Bible, the Tabyan al-Kalam that he wrote, he expounded on the degrees of consistency inside the Bible with Quranic precepts. The unity of God, the patriarchal foundation, the prophets Abraham, Moses, and others. So his legacy as an educator, my dear friends, shall be long-lasting. Rejection of dogma, freedom of thinking and choice, superiority of individual reason and judgment, elevation of Islamic practices based on the core message of the Word of God and the work of God. So his philosophy as a Muslim reformer could be best summarized by stating the good use of religion is that we should reform ourselves to the better. And his call to the use of education was to live in this world honorably and with dignity. So today, my dear friends, as we gather to celebrate Sir Syed Day, we have the results, the accomplishments of what he set out to do as a mark of measurement, of the criteria of his success. वो जो कहते हैं ना कि पहचान लिया तुझको तेरी शीशागरी से, आती है नजर फन से ही फनकार की सूरत. So the results and accomplishments speak for themselves. The founding of a college which became the main hub of research, reconstruction, and interpretation of Muslim thought across the Indian subcontinent and the rest of the world. That, my dear friends, is the legacy that each one of you proudly, as an alumni of this historic university, represent. So today, as we gather to celebrate Sir Syed Day, we venerate and we pray for a legendary thinker and reformer who launched the Aligarh movement, which produced a high class of Muslims excelling in both Islamic and Western culture. You all, my friends, and AMU alumni across the globe bear living testimony to the revolutionary educational thought, the visionary genius of Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exalt him in stature. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Thank you so much. Two minutes beyond the time.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Karim Irfan, for a very thought-provoking speech. You took me 45 years back into the Union Hall of Aligarh Muslim University when I forgot the name, a luminary. He spoke with his heart and inspired a crowd of about 2,000 people, students of the university. And he said, I can see from your faces that what I shared with you, you are going to take it with you and implement it in your life. So by looking at your faces, I am sure that you have enjoyed Mr. Karim's thoughts, his presentation, and you will take it to the task that he mentioned. The legacy of success is not meant to be only celebrated once a year. It is meant to be celebrated every moment of our life. Please give him a big round of applause for making a very thought-provoking speech. Thank you, Mr. Irfan. I now invite Dr. Saif Sheikh to introduce our chief guest. Dr. Saif currently serves as a member of the Board of Trustees of the National Federation of Aligarh Muslim University Alumni Association and has held various leadership positions at our association here in Chicago. Dr. Saif.
Thank you, Ahmadullah Bhai. Honorable guest, fellow colleagues, and my dear friends, good evening and assalamu alaikum. I'm really honored to introduce you to the chief guest of tonight, General Zamiruddin Shah, our ex-Vice Chancellor of Aligarh Muslim University. There were many Vice Chancellors who strived hard to make AMU a better university. However, General Shah is the only one who reached out to the alumni and made them feel more involved and asked them directly to contribute to AMU in various ways. I still remember when he first came to Chicago in the summer of 2013 with a message of payback time for the alumni. His message was that the alumni should build 100 smart classrooms at AMU. And Chicago Association stepped up and was the first association to commit for the first classroom at Aligarh Muslim University. Later, Chicago donated again a second smart classroom at Abdullah College of AMU. General Shah has a long list of accomplishments that cannot be described in this short introduction. Briefly, he served in Indian Army for 40 years in various capacities and received several accolades, including Sena Medal, Vishisht Seva Medal, Param Vishisht Seva Medal, and the list go on. He also led the army during the Gujarat riots in 2002. Recently, he published a book called Sarkari Musalman. It gives a glimpse of a story about it. Do not forget to pick up a copy from the hallway when you exit from this room. With that, I would like to invite General Shah to the stage. Let's give him a warm welcome. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Jai Hind. President, AMU Alumni Association of Greater Chicago, alumni of this great university, greetings. Mr. Kareem Irfan has very clearly brought out the contribution of Sir Syed, and I would not like to address it, but I acknowledge the fact that if it had not been for Sir Syed's mission, most of us would have been uneducated buffoons. Because of his efforts, Aligarh movement was launched. I have now changed it to Aligarh Movement 1. Because we have launched another movement called Aligarh Movement 2. Aligarh Movement 1 resulted in the birth of Aligarh Muslim University. But my experience in the field of education showed me that now's the time to attend to the foundation. The sort of foundation which I received, the sort of foundation my brothers, my nephews, nieces, everybody received. And we got it from the Christians. So, St. Joseph's College, I started my education in a madrasa, but then went on to St. Joseph's College, Nainital. And I realized that a foundation is all that is required to trigger the passion to inquire and learn more. So that the Aligarh Movement 2 is going to address the foundation of education. That means what we want to do is establish a chain of schools where there's sizable Muslim pocket to equip our children to qualify for institutions of higher learning. The tragedy for the Muslims of India is poverty. And because of poverty, the girls are married off early and the boys are sent to work to supplement the family income. So they do not get a proper grounding. They do not have a firm foundation, educational foundation, like I had received. And it has also been my experience that discrimination is deeply embedded in men's hearts. But who's being discriminated against? Why wasn't I discriminated against? Why weren't my brothers discriminated against? My children, my nephews, nieces, cousins? Because we had a firm foundation. We were educated properly in good schools. We were a middle class Muslim family, and so our parents could afford to send us to good schools. I am convinced that discrimination is not religious based, it is against the less educated. And I am being no hypocrite. I assure you, discrimination is against the less educated. Muslims and Dalits, unfortunately, are in that category. So they face discrimination. Let us educate our children so well that they can break through the barriers, break through this wall of discrimination. And it is possible. I've experienced it myself. Nobody could dare stand up against me in any field because of the firm schooling which I had received. After that, I was left on my own and I did my graduation, post-graduation, everything else what the army required. Of course, the army encouraged me. And I never, I repeat, faced any sort of discrimination. I only faced affirmative action right through my service. Then I was a judge in the military high court. Yes, I did face problems in Aligarh Muslim University. From our own creed, from our own people. And I felt that was discrimination. This is, Shah Sahib is a military man. He'd be too drunk in the evenings to attend to any official work. That was the sort of, well, call it discrimination or call it what you like. But we have got to attend to the foundation. How did we do it? Firstly, our efforts were to make your alma mater the best university of the country. People said it was a distant dream, but I dreamt it, like Sir Syed dreamt of a great university. But we wanted to make it the best in the country, and Alhamdulillah, in the academic year 2016-17, Times Higher Education London and US News and World Report declared AMU as the top university of the country. That was under our watch. I don't take credit for it. I feel it was our efforts to knit the teachers and the students and everybody in AMU into a well-knit team, and we succeeded, alhamdulillah. I always talk to the students after Friday prayers from the mosque, and I told them, I used to joke with them, I used to say, Madri Zaban, Urdu sahab, Urdu. Rozi roti ke zaban, they used to keep silent. I used to tell them Angrezi. Agar Angrezi nahi सीखोगे, तो रोजी रोटी नहीं मिलेगी. And that is a bitter fact. However, in my last year, I changed it a little. I tweaked it. I said, Madri Zaban, साहब उर्दू आप कहते हैं. रोजी रोटी की ज़बान अंग्रेजी आप कहते हैं, आप तो अंग्रेज हैं. I said, गलत. रोजी रोटी की ज़बान कंप्यूटर की ज़बान है. The language of the computer is your bread and butter language, and you better harness it And that is why when the Sayyidna, our Chancellor, visited Aligarh Muslim University, I made two requests. One is restore the Minto Circle. It was crumbling to pieces. The buildings had become very old. There's a team of engineers detailed by the Sayyidna restoring the historical buildings of Minto Circle, named after Sir Syed, the Sayyidna's grandfather. Also, I asked for 1,000 computers. Within a month, top of the line, 1,000 computers were delivered to AMU. It must have cost the Chancellor several crores. But we wanted to start the language of the computer from class 1 and not from class 6, which was happening. So, children of ANU are starting computers from class 1 with top of the line computers. Now, what happened after the riots in Muzaffarnagar? I went to the refugee colonies and inquired, what help can we give you? We thought of sending them blankets and the normal stuff which is sent. They says, please don't burden us with more blankets and lihafs and all sorts of things, food. Give us something for the education of the children. So I went back and talked to the students, and that year we decided we will not have the Sir Syed Day dinner. And the 51 lakhs so saved was given to me, and we established the first school called Sir Syed National School, Jwala. This is a village in Muzaffarnagar called Jwala. I request all of you to go and visit it. I can assure you, it is better than any public school in the country. I reiterate and repeat, it is better than any public school in the country with the lowest fees. The fees are 350 rupees a month for people who can afford it. 100 refugee children are given free education. And there are almost 400 children studying in that school. We have reached to class 5. Our project is to create schools in Muslim pockets. These are going to be secular schools. We want children of all communities. These are going to be secular schools, but with an Islamic ethos. I think that's very, very important. I went to a Christian school, a secular school. Nobody asked me to become a Christian, but it had a Christian ethos. And I imbibed so much of good from Christianity, and a lot of non-Muslims will imbibe a lot from good Muslim ethos when they study it. They'll realize it's a religion which teaches so much. I appealed to the people, and we wanted to start with Uttar Pradesh. That is the hub of poverty and grinding poverty and illiteracy. But we want to expand outwards. We will expand to Bihar, to Haryana and Orissa. And we asked for, I laid 3 preconditions to donors. One is, we want 2 acres of land. Second, it has to be on a metal road. And third, we said, which was very important, if you are looking for profit, don't join us, because there will be no profit. These are no profit, no loss schools. We wanted to make them for all communities, and because of the location, it was in refugee colonies, the non-Muslims didn't dare to venture in. We have broken the ice this year, and the first 10 non-Muslim students have been admitted, and by God, they're really happy. Their parents, we are going to put their interviews on the network of Sir Syed Education Foundation, and you'll see it for yourself. So this is the way which we want to go. I appeal to all of you. Join us in our mission. Join us in strengthening the foundation, the educational foundation of our community. And then you'll have generals, you'll have administrators, you'll have IS officers, you'll have them all over. We want to create leaders from the Muslim community to contribute to the development of our country. That's India. That is our mission. Aligarh Movement 2. You can read more about it later. Why did Aligarh Muslim University become the best university of the country? Because of the research. Quality research. We hijacked a few professors from United States, Ford Motor Company and others, and they are doing great research. Solar-driven cars are going to be coming out of Aligarh Muslim University, the research. We've already perfected the technique. We've already perfected the technique of recharging your battery in 15 minutes while you're having a cup of tea. We are given the task, I've given the task to make the batteries affordable, lightweight, and our scientists are at breaking, they are just about to get it. So that is solar power. We made a solar farm. You know, the grant of AMU is 26 crores per year. Because of free electricity and nobody paying anything, those 26 crores go only in paying the electricity bills. So I had no money, not a single paisa to run the university. So you have seen the Bhatta ground? That's where the riding ground is. There is a huge ground in which the Bhatta, when AMU was being built, the brick kilns were made there. So that's no good for agriculture or anything else. We have established a solar farm worth 20 crores. And that has resulted, first year, in a saving of 6 crores in electricity bills. 6 crores. So the investment of 20 crores will be paid back in 3.5 years. And after that, for the next 20 years, you will get electricity worth 6, 7, 8 crores free. That's the sort of work we are doing. The second was, the problems in India was agriculture, food. Our nanotechnology has perfected nano fertilizers, preservation of food and vegetables without refrigeration. You don't need refrigeration. Tomatoes treated with nanomaterials, derived from food, remained as fresh after 6 months, I've seen it myself, as the day they were plucked. Of course, we were concerned whether these would adversely affect the health of people eating them. The professors doing the research have gained weight. So there was nothing, it's not detrimental to the health. So, next was water. Let me tell you all, ladies and gentlemen, we are very proud of the fact that our scientists are deeply involved in Project Ganga and Yamuna to restore these rivers to their pristine glory. Vast stretches of the rivers have been given to Aligarh Muslim University to clean up, and they will, through a process called anaerobic digestion. That means we don't need power. It is just plant technology, which is water is released and released out after one night, not potable, but of sufficient purity to enable for irrigation and for fish breeding. So that is solar power, that is agriculture and water. Yes, a breakthrough using nanotechnology is desalination of sea water. Now that will really benefit our coastal cities. I gave a presentation to the Crown Prince of UAE. He said he would send a team. I'm going to remind him again when I visit Dubai that the team hasn't come. But I assured him that you're spending so much of your energy on these desalination plants. Use our technology of nanofilters and costs will be minimal. So that is the reason why Aligarh Muslim University became the top university of the country. I think your association has got their priorities right. Women's education, computer literacy, these are the two fields which you concentrate on. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you that the figures of AMU is 45-65, 45-55%. 45% of the students are girls. There's a thirst in the Muslim community to educate the girl child, which is a very, very healthy sign. And this is far above the national average. I used to joke with the boys because the girls used to win all the medals and all the prizes. I said, I'll have to keep reservation for you boys now. The girls are going to be 90%, 95% are going to be, students are going to be girls. We'll have to reserve boys, position for the boys. So they used to put their heads down and say, we'll study. So this is the way we are going. Ladies and gentlemen, my appeal to you is don't dissipate your funds in